times it comes up. This is being live Facebook fed as soon as I press that button. And how was your holiday?
It was wonderful. I have 4 daughters. They come home.
What do lawyers
it's
buy
a
lawyers for gifts for Christmas?
What do lawyers
give? Lawyers, because your daughters are lawyers.
I have 2 sons-in-law now. So we do like a gift exchange. And I was lucky enough that one of my sons-in-law had my name, and I got a really nice golf pullover.
Oh,
really nice.
You can never go wrong with that.
No, you can't have too many of those. So, and he's a pretty good golfer. He's a +4 handicap, if anybody knows what that means. That means his average score is 68.
It means that he's sick.
68, yeah. He hits it about 300 yards. Yeah, he's the real deal. Mike Gilorowski.
Now, you
financial advisor.
You drive for show, you putt for dough.
He can do both.
All right.
Yeah, he's one of those guys.
All right.
Yeah.
So how long do you think it's going to be before the snow goes and you can wear that shirt and go hit some?
No golf tomorrow if you're thinking about it. That's for darn sure. 12 degrees outside. I was in Philadelphia yesterday.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
Oh, yeah. Well, I'm president of the Pennsylvania Association for Justice, formerly known as the Pennsylvania Trial Lawyers Association. We have 2,000 members. Every once in a while, we have to meet in Philadelphia for meetings. But you talk about cold. I mean, it was cold here yesterday when I left. I flew out about 10:30, but it was cold plus about a 25-mile-an-hour wind in Philadelphia yesterday. And then I got home about 11 o'clock. So it was a long day. Great game yesterday, though. Penn State, Notre Dame. See, my partner, Chuck Garbett, my law partner, he's a rabid Notre Dame fan.
Oh, is it? I didn't know that.
And my other son-in-law, Patrick, he's a Penn State grad. He actually went to the game. I got a lot of friends that went to the game. It was a great game. Sorry, you didn't want to see anybody lose that one.
Yeah, you did, Larry.
Oh, did you? Who were you rooting against?
I hate them both equally, if I'm going to be blunt. My disdain for both is pretty even.
Well, I think
I got a concussion at Notre Dame, so there's probably a personal bitterness there.
There could be.
Yeah.
And maybe that's an explanation for why you are like you are.
No, the other 6 are.
But they have cult followings.
Oh, yeah.
They're cults.
Worldwide,
they're not fan
man.
bases. They're cults.
Worldwide.
And,
like Ferrari. When you say Notre Dame football, the world knows what it is.
Oh, yeah.
They might not be. They know what it is.
Yeah. But it was a great game. I mean, I hated to see the quarterback from Penn State throw that interception at the end. I had no real rooting interest. 2 good teams. Mm-hmm. But I think Ohio State's the best team left, but we'll see. It's why they play the game.
Did you see the story? I guess some Ohio State fans thought that the game was in a different place, so they traveled to a different town. I'm going to look up the story. They thought it was
bizarre.
An Orange Bowl or something.
Well, the Orange Bowl's where they played last night. So if they went down there, they saw a good game. They might not have had tickets to get in, but they saw a good game.
Larry Kelly is my guest from the law group Luxembourg, Garbett, Kelly, and George. That's LGKG.com. Now that we've gone through a full, while we're talking about football and coaching and the system, we've just gone through the first full open season on NIL. Will college football and college bowl games, will that ever be the same?
No, well, now that we're paying guys, and I'm okay with that, you need salary caps and personal service contracts. Mm-hmm. You just can't, your alma mater, Alabama, probably has more NIL money than any other school in the country.
I think they're top 5.
Okay.
Yeah,
well,
for sure.
Compare them to the University of Pittsburgh, and it's all about paying these guys, and I don't begrudge them for getting paid. However, what you can't have happen is I pay you, Eddie Crow, $1 million to come play quarterback for me at Notre Dame next year, and Alabama, after your lights out season, is offering you $2 million, and now you leave. So listen, if you're going to get paid like a professional, there should be personal service contracts. you're bound to Alabama for 2 years or whatever, or 4, whatever the case may be.
You're a National Football League GM guy you might draft, you think highly of, decides he's going to sit out the bowl game because he doesn't want to get hurt, or he's going to sit out the second half of the bowl game, or he's going to bail on the bowl game. Like every single team in the big games, they all had guys that, man, I'm going to...
Are you talking about the playoffs?
I'm talking about bowl games and the
bowl
playoffs.
Bowl games.
All of it.
Not the toast, whatever bowl the University of Pittsburgh went to
and lost
in Detroit
to a MAC team.
Yeah, not that bowl, but you're talking about these 12 teams that made the college football playoffs. You're telling me there are players that aren't playing?
Yeah, the backup quarterback for Penn State had to go in the portal and
he transferred out.
Right, and he made a really good point. It's like these windows when they're allowed to do this and all that are brutal. You've got to bail on, if you're going to leave, you got to bail on your team.
Yeah, that's a bad rule. They need to change that. But, look, if you're my teammate and we're playing for a national championship and you're telling me you're not playing, okay, but we're fighting. Put up your dukes. We're going.
We're going, and we'll go out and play.
Well, we're going to fight. That's just me.
But
there ain't no. There are very few places in the world left for Larry Kelly.
Yeah,
very few places where I could exist because of the way I think.
Is it weirdly more balanced because it's all out in the open now?
That's a good question. Maybe the schools like the University of Pittsburgh have a better chance of getting a good player now because, look, the bottom line is before, I'm going to take a visit to Notre Dame, and there'll be 100,000 people there. I'm going to take a visit to Penn State. There'll be 100,000 people. And now when I take my visit to Pitt, there's 25,000 in a stadium that holds 70. It looks rather barren. But if I could pay you, it doesn't matter how many people are in the stands.
You're a college football coach. I'm going to give you enough money to get your favorites, but you got a short list. What do you need to do to turn a program around? You need a quarterback. You need what? A good running back or a good. How many players?
You get the right
need?
Guys blocking, Eddie. You and I can run the ball.
Yeah.
You need a quarterback. Number one. You need an outstanding wide out. You need some guys on the offensive line, and probably a couple cover corners. But it's a lot easier in basketball than it is in football. You give me Michael Jordan, I can beat anybody.
Why? 5 versus 11?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
How much does a coaching staff have to do with it? And I'm asking you as a coach, is it easier for a school like Pitt to just throw money at 3 or 4 guys or do something with the coaching? Which is an easier morale booster going into the mixer for all the alumni?
You got to have players. You can't win without them. Period. You can't.
Okay.
I've been around it a long time, and the axiom holds true. Good coaches win with good players. Bad coaches lose with good players. So the bottom line is, if the constant is good players, you don't have good players, you can't win. Period. You could be John Wooden. Been there, done that.
Mm-hmm. Larry Kelly, I love talking to you. More with Larry Kelly. This is being live Facebook fed. You got any questions for Larry, you can call him or you can post them in the comments section. And they can be about football. Can I ask you about the Steelers when we come back?
Yeah, we can. Jeez, that's a depressing subject.
Yeah, why don't you just stab me in the thigh with a fork? But yeah, we can.
Do you like sports? Then tune in every Wednesday from 5 to 6 p.m. for One Man's Opinion on Sports with Brian Pasquale. Brian is loaded with statistics and interesting sports viewpoints. The show can also be seen on the WBVP-WNBA Facebook page. Plus, Brian will be taking your calls as well. That's One Man's Opinion on Sports with Brian Pasquale. Every Wednesday from 5 to 6 p.m. on Beaver County Radio.
Beaver County Radio proudly welcomes Fry Transportation to their family. You're listening to 99.3 FM and 1230 WBVP, live from the all-new Fry Transportation Studios.
In a recent live broadcast, Dale Reckless from MRS Physical Therapy stated that if you are over 65 years old, the CDC recommends getting an annual fall risk screening.
Your vestibular system is similar where it starts to slow down at the age of 40 to 50 years old. Your balance systems start to change at the age of 40 to 50 years old, and they keep getting worse. So it's not just something you do once, but you should do it annually because your body continues to change year to year as you get older.
If you need physical therapy for any reason, choose the place that your friends and neighbors do. MRS Physical Therapy, located in Stone Point Landing in Bridgewater, or Cranberry Physical Therapy on Route 19 in Cranberry. For more information, call Dale Reckless today at 724-728-7550 or visit mrsphysicaltherapy.com.
There's exciting news. A new pharmacy in New Brighton just opened, Forward RX. It's an independent community pharmacy that fills prescriptions at transparent cost-plus pricing on many generic medications. No insurance or discount coupons needed. Brandon Anthonopoulos will discuss your needs and how Forward RX can help you save money. The pharmacy experience you deserve is more affordable than you think. Become a Forward member today. Stop in 809 3rd Avenue, New Brighton, or check their prices at FWDRX.com.
When the weather turns bad, you can now do two things. First, tune to Beaver County Radio for the latest cancellation announcements, and second, go to beavercountyradio.com and access our all-new closings and delays widget that is active anytime that there are weather-related events. If snow's got you covered, so do we at Beaver County Radio. Beaver County Radio social media and beavercountyradio.com. Snow Watch is presented by Monroe Auto Body, the Lisa Latham team at eXp Realty, the cornerstone of Beaver County, and Beaver County Radio.
The worst thing that a person can do for their family is die without a will. Please take the time to consult attorney Michael W. Nally of Nally, Elias & Associates for legal counsel and draft a last will and testament. Also, take the time to meet with your financial advisor and insurance agent to make certain you have current beneficiary accounts, annuities, and life insurance policies. Your last will and testament cannot be overstated. Call Nally, Elias & Associates, 150 Pleasant Drive, Aliquippa, and protect your future today.
Looking for home services? Call Patriot Home Care in Beaver Falls. Their staff provides company, conversation, and companionship to all patients, ensuring medications are taken on time, participating in fun community activities, personal care, meal prep, and light household work are all services provided by Patriot Home Care, all thanks to the hardworking and selfless team members. Call Patriot Home Care at 724-506-8911 or stop in Patriot Home Care, 1225 7th Avenue, Beaver Falls.
Here's the Beaver County forecast.
Winter weather advisory kicks up at about 7 o'clock tonight. Snow rolls in. You've heard about this once or twice before. 1 to 2 inches possible. The winter weather advisory stays in effect until 1 o'clock Sunday morning. Larry Kelly is my guest. Are you a snow person? I love the snow. I hate the cold. Do you still love the snow growing?
No, I don't. And it makes for hazardous driving conditions. You know, at LGKG, we handle a lot of automobile accident cases, and most of them occur from, the end of November through the end of April.
You see a noticeable spike.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, road conditions substantially affect the way you should operate your automobile, whether it's rain, whether it's snow, certainly if it's ice. And we've seen some horrific injuries, where road conditions affect, the ability to handle your vehicle.
As a lawyer, how does that affect you logistically? Because it seems like every 30 feet of road is maintained by some different organization. There's a lot of different people that are involved in, when you say the roads. Who do you deal with the most?
Well, PennDOT.
PennDOT?
At LGKG, we've handled a lot of cases involving PennDOT and road conditions. The last one we had was in Beaver County, where there was runoff from a private property onto a roadway that froze. When you have, temperatures below 32 degrees, our client driving to work at 5 o'clock in the morning, the speed limit hits this icy condition.
So it goes from dry to skating rink like that.
Like that. And car flips over about 3 times, terrible injuries. And, the argument is PennDOT knew or should have known of this runoff. Why? Because we canvassed the neighborhood and we would ask, have there been accidents? Oh, there's one a week there in the wintertime. And, has anybody from PennDOT ever been out here? Well, yes. Well, what did they do? Nothing. So those kind of things. And, there are PennDOT handbooks and manuals, maintenance manuals that set forth what their obligation and duties are. So I've probably had 5 or 6 really big cases involving PennDOT in my career, maybe more.
How many lawyers does PennDOT have?
Hundreds.
Do they have to farm it out to the locality because of the jurisdiction or something like that?
They work through the Attorney General's office in Western Pennsylvania, but the Attorney General has offices throughout the entire state of Pennsylvania. So they're good lawyers. They know what they're doing, and but so do we.
Is that a starter job, PennDOT lawyer? That doesn't sound like a starter job.
No, you better have experience,
Yeah.
and these guys do. They know what they're doing. They're very good at what they do. But the facts are the facts, as we like to say in law. The facts are the facts, and the first thing you have to do is develop the facts. That's true whether you're dealing with a case against PennDOT or a medical malpractice case that we just settled in a case. Guy goes into the hospital complaining of chest pain, nausea, vomiting.
Sounds like a heart attack.
Shortness of breath. What's it sound like to you?
Sounds like a heart attack. What was missing? His left shoulder didn't have pain or something? Yeah,
They did an EKG, misread it, and then sent him back to the waiting room for an hour, and the poor young man died right in front of him.
Wow.
Yeah. And then the defense was, how do we know he had a heart attack?
The list that you compiled about an hour before it happened?
How do you know he had a heart attack, they said. Okay.
How far is that case settled?
It just did.
They didn't take that one to trial, did they?
It had to be litigated for a year and a half, depositions and all of that. There was no autopsy. How do we know he had a heart attack? Okay. What do you think he had, Eddie? With those.
I'm an idiot. The third one down, it's a heart attack.
Yeah.
Heart or a heart incident or whatever they try and call
heart
it.
Heart stopped beating. So
who misread the EKG?
It might have been a PA, which unfortunately, when you go into the emergency room, you don't see an emergency room doctor anymore. You see a physician's assistant.
Oh no!
The EKG this person read as normal at 9 o'clock in the morning. The doctor signed off on it at 4 in the afternoon. Guy probably never saw it till then.
Right.
But he signed off on it because now he knows what happens. And so anyway, the facts are the facts, Eddie. That's what we say at LGKG. We want to be masters of the facts. We want to, we don't know what kind of case you have until we know what the facts are. And then we applied a lot of that and put the formula together and figure out if we can help you.
The facts are the facts. Larry Kelly of the Law Group Luxembourg, Garbutt, Kelly, and George.
It's here. It's the McDonald's value menu, and it includes breakfast. Buy one sausage biscuit, sausage McMuffin, burrito, or hash brown, and get the second one for only $1. And you're able to mix and match. Only at your local area McDonald's. I'm loving it.
When the weather turns bad, you can now do 2 things. First, tune to Beaver County Radio for the latest cancellation announcements, and second, go to beavercountyradio.com and access our all-new closings and delays widget that is active anytime that there are weather-related events. If snow's got you covered, so do we at Beaver County Radio. Beaver County Radio social media and beavercountyradio.com. Snow Watch is presented by Monroe Auto Body, the Lisa Latham team at eXp Realty, the cornerstone of Beaver County, and Beaver County Radio.
Beaver County Radio's news source. 99.3 FM, 1230 WBVP, and beavercountyradio.com. Here's Noah Haswell.
Good morning on 99.3 FM and AM 1230 WBVP. There's a winter weather advisory starting tonight at 7 p.m. until Sunday at 1 a.m. We will have a complete Beaver County radio weather forecast after we take this look at news. Daniel Lance Philo II, the suspect accused of killing 48-year-old Eric Mason in Beaver Falls last week, was arrested by U.S. Marshals in Connellsville, Pennsylvania on Thursday, according to U.S. Marshal Stephen Eberly. Philo faces charges of robbery, possession of a firearm, and criminal homicide after killing Mason on December 30th, 2024 in a Beaver Falls building located on 11th Street. A second suspect is now in jail for his role in the alleged attack at the VFW bar at 211 Penn Avenue in Aliquippa late Sunday night. 43-year-old Ronald Brown of Ambridge is another suspect accused of assaulting Preston Coleman. Brown went into the bar while 39-year-old wanted suspect Brett Hours of Aliquippa was already assaulting Coleman. Brown is now in the Beaver County Jail with a bond of $100,000. According to Beaver County dispatchers, on Thursday night at around 9:25 p.m., fire crews took on a fire at Giuseppe's Tuscany Grill in Homewood Borough. Dispatchers also confirmed that no one was injured after the local restaurant on 7072 Big Beaver Boulevard was surrounded by flames. The fire also made a part of the roof collapse. The investigation is being headed by the Pennsylvania State Police Fire Marshal. The administration of Governor Josh Shapiro announced the completion of the new edition of the website pa.gov on Thursday. This new website is a combination of 64 websites from the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania. Over 1,000 services from the Commonwealth can be accessed from one search tool after the process began to create this website on May 29, 2024. The website was viewed more than 72 million times and was accessed close to 9 million times in December of 2024. At the 109th Pennsylvania Farm Show in Harrisburg on Thursday, $300,000 in grants were given to military veterans that work in agriculture during Military Appreciation Day. Here is PA Secretary of Agriculture Russell Redding with this audio courtesy of Commonwealth Media Services.
Right, so you think about this nation, about 2% of our population is directly employed in production agriculture. And about 2% of our nation is also serving or has served in our military. You think about 96% of the public who is benefiting from the 2% that feed us and the 2% that protect us. It is a special day every day to recognize those 2 percenters, if you will, but we have them represented inside of this complex. So it's a special day for us to recognize our veterans, recognize the farmer veterans who you wear 2 hats. Right, we've got 7,000 of them in Pennsylvania, farmers who are also veterans. So it's an important part of our culture in the industry. It's part of our industry here in Pennsylvania as well.
The owners of Kendrew's Lounge in Aliquippa are making some rule changes for customers this week after the lounge was the site where 30-year-old Tricardi Gooseby of Aliquippa shot 32-year-old Jerry L. Gooseby early Sunday morning during an argument. According to owners Pamela and Macy Kendrew, weapons, drugs, large bags, and backpacks are prohibited inside the bar. The Kendrews also confirmed that customers cannot wear hoods in their bar and that small bags and all other types of bags can be searched. And the Beaver County Humane Society is encouraging pet owners to keep their pets warm after rescuing a dog that was suffering from, quote, severe frostbite on December 23, 2024. 13-year-old Max was brought in by a stranger to the shelter who found him huddled on a porch with his paws both bleeding and swollen. Even though Max had frostbite on all 4 paws, he is now walking after 3 toe amputations and 3 surgeries.
Here's the Beaver County forecast on 95.7 and 99.3 FM, along with 1230 WBVP, 1460 WMBA, and streaming at beavercountyradio.com.
There's a winter weather advisory starting tonight at 7 p.m. and going until Sunday at 1 a.m. It'll be increasing clouds today with a high near 24. Tonight will be cloudy skies with a low of around 20 and a possible 1 to 2 inches of snow likely. On Saturday, it'll be mostly cloudy skies with a high near 29 and a chance of snow. On Sunday, it'll be mostly cloudy skies with a high near 30. And on Monday, it'll be mostly cloudy skies with a high near 33 and a chance of snow. On this Friday, January 10th of 2025, at 36 minutes after 9, we've got a temperature of 14 degrees currently in Beaver County. That's a look at the news for now. I'm Noah Haswell on 99.3 FM and AM 1230 WBVP, also streaming live around the world at beavercountyradio.com.
Are you ready? It's time to find out what is on the mind of Eddie Crow. It's Something to Crow About on Beaver County Radio, 99.3 FM and 1230 WBVP. Now, here's the host of the show, Eddie Crow.
Rolling through. If you're home tonight, hanging out, maybe watching it snow, I'm going to give you a little piece of advice. Larry, I'll include you in this. I know you've got a wonderful sense of humor. Larry Kelly, the Law Group Luxembourg, Garber, Kelly, and George is my guest. In Northwest Alabama, they are in the process, Larry, of getting snow. And I mean legit snow.
And that doesn't happen often?
They're getting, in one storm,
Excuse me,
about 3 years typical.
Okay.
All right. Mom and Pop hardware store yesterday sold almost 1,000 sleds in a half a day. You were mentioning the emergency room protocol. Are there lawyers watching people buy those sleds going, oh, there's going to be a broken arm lawsuit? There's going to be a... Do lawyers think in terms of Mother Nature?
I'm not so sure. You're riding on a sled and you break your arm. It's called assumption of the risk. You're assuming the fact that you could fall off that thing and get hurt.
From my cousin Benny, what if it's on somebody else's property?
It doesn't matter.
Okay.
You're a trespasser. Now, here's an exception to that.
All right.
If I say, Eddie, can I ride my sled on your property? Yes. Mm-hmm. And as I'm going down the hill, there's a hole that's 8 feet deep right at the bottom of the hill that you know about and that you don't tell me about.
I don't give you a heads up on that?
Now we might have something to talk about.
Mind the hole. What if it's a public land? Where my mom lives, where I sledded when I was in high school.
Recreational Use of Land and Water Act. There's an immunity that is specific for those kinds of public lands. I don't like having gray hair, Eddie. You understand?
Yeah.
But I've been doing this for 41 years.
Wow.
I don't think there's any form of law that Larry Kelly at LGKG doesn't know about. It just stuck in my head.
How difficult? Well, we would sled at the Lock and Dam. The Overlook is what it was called. And I always wondered about that. How difficult is it to stay up to speed on all the different aspects?
Well, just before we came back on the air, you saw me looking at my phone. I belong to listservs that I get 100 emails a day, and various aspects of the law are being discussed. If new cases come out, they show up on these listservs. One is directed solely towards automobile accidents. The other is medical malpractice. Yet a third is workers' compensation. If you want to be good at something, Eddie, my father used to tell me you have to be a student of the game, which means that you got to be studying all the time. And that's what I do. That's what we do at LGKG. That's what Larry Kelly does. Because unless you know the law, we were talking about being a master of the facts. Unless you know the law, you don't even realize what facts may or may not be important. So you have to know the law first. Recreational use of land and water.
That's amazing. All right. Well, that allows this next question. It's not your specific area of expertise, but with what has happened various places in the country, North Carolina, now Southern California is burning down. As a lawyer, how do you look at the insurance companies right now?
Well,
because you deal with them.
Insurance companies are the most successful companies in the world. I think it was Allstate, maybe State Farm last year, $3.1 billion they made. The casualty insurance companies last year as a total, I think their net profits were somewhere in excess of $80 billion.
So 80,000 million.
80, that's even more money than you have, Eddie. You understand?
Absolutely.
Now, what I suspect, because I have a house in Florida, that there are certain exclusions in my policies that deal specifically with hurricanes. I bet my bottom dollar there are exclusions in these policies written in California excluding damage caused by wildfires. They only take risks that they want to take and probably won't happen. That's my guess. There's probably exclusions in the policy. So unfortunately, one of those wildfires take your house, you may be on your own.
How ironic is it that the pro football game that was supposed to happen in California can't because of the wildfires because of the fires, and they're moving it to Arizona, and the Arizona Stadium is sponsored by an insurance company.
State Farm. I think. How about that? Yeah, Eddie, I've fought with insurance companies for 41 years. Now, I got some blood on me, brother, but they got more. Trust me. If I've gone down swinging. Larry Kelly's gone down swinging. I ain't going down laying in the corner. You understand? But they got more blood on them than I do. So at LGKG, we're way ahead of the game, as is our clients.
As a human being, do you ever sit at your desk and wonder how other human beings justify their existence by doing that as a job? Saying, no, you can't have insurance, or, yeah, you had it, but that doesn't count, or that prosthetic leg, yeah, we ain't paying for it.
I hear it a lot, unfortunately. Yeah. I hear it a lot. You know, they're doing their job. I get it. Yeah, I hear it a lot, Eddie. But we don't always take it. We just had another case. They try to cheat my client out of $50,000. There was
Them's fighting words.
Yeah,
man.
There was an issue as to whether or not he was an occupant of his vehicle at the time of his injury, right? Because there's something in Pennsylvania called the regular use exclusion. If you're operating or occupying a vehicle that isn't owned by you but is owned by your company that's available for your regular use, there's no coverage on that vehicle. I don't want to get into the whys.
Wait. There's no coverage. Meaning if I drive the station van, it's not covered?
No coverage for underinsured motorist benefits. My client gets hurt very badly, the fault of another person. Mm-hmm. We get paid the liability coverage from the other person. Now we're trying to collect the underinsured coverage from the vehicle. They said, well, he was operating or occupying the vehicle. What do you mean? He was walking in front of the vehicle when he got hit by a car. He was a pedestrian. That's insane.
They said he was walking, or they said he was in the car that hit him?
Occupying. He was, because it was his intent to enter the vehicle. I said, yes, it was, but he wasn't. He wasn't occupying it, nor was he operating it. And, you know, most lawyers, okay, we don't want to fight. Well, I fight. And we just got the decision about a month ago, and it resulted in my client getting an additional $50,000 that he absolutely positively was entitled to. Again, you got to know the law, you got to know the facts, and you got to be willing to fight for your clients. Eddie, at LGKG, I'm not real good when you tell me no. We're just not. Larry Kelly, when you say no, I'm not going to do it, I just, you know, I'm not real good at saying, okay, Eddie, anything you say.
How valid a legal defense is it to try and stall somebody out?
Well, they do it all the time.
I mean, how often does that happen? Every time?
Well, not every time, but you know, they held on to that $50,000 for a year and a half, and it collected interest and was part of their investment portfolio that my client didn't have. But I wasn't going away. Larry Kelly, I don't go away, Eddie. Unfortunately for them, fortunate for my clients, but that's just what we do. Now, there are some situations. We just had a case, serious injuries, where the insurance company tendered the $300,000 policy limit almost immediately. But I only gave them 30 days. I said, look, these are the injuries. It's clearly a policy limit case. You got 30 days to tender the policy. And if you don't, we're going to file suit. And if we have to file suit, we're not going to take it, and we're going to try to chase you down for more. So, but they did tender the policy limit in that case.
How rare is that the insurance companies basically say, okay, yeah, we're between a rock and a hard place, fine.
It happens, not often, but it does happen, Eddie. And it happens because when I tell you, Larry Kelly or LGKG, that if you don't pay, we're filing suit, guess what? We file suit. We don't make threats that we don't keep.
Are there lawyers that would say, I'm going to file suit if you don't do this, and then you don't do it? Really?
Many. Oh, yeah. And there's a book on us, Eddie. There's a book on us.
Doesn't that crush your reputation?
It does. There's a book on all lawyers. But in Larry Kelly's book, it says he's a knucklehead. If he says he's going to do it, he's probably going to do it. And, I tell my people, if we take the case, if we make a demand, and they say, well, either we don't believe your client's owed anything, we're filing suit. We're not going to take the case, make a demand, and when they say, well, too bad, we don't think it's worth anything, we're not. At LGKG, we're filing suit.
I know you, just in general, how much time do you have to spend, as you said, being a knucklehead, before they get in too deep and say it's cheaper to settle than it is to keep going with this? Is there a general tipping point?
Well, again, the issue always becomes how much risk is my client willing to take? How much risk?
And when you sit down at LGKG, you ask them that?
Well, I basically say, look, it's like being in a blackjack game. There was a case where there was $400,000 on the table. If we go to trial, we might get more. But if we go to trial, the jury might come back with $100,000 and think they're giving you all the money in the world. Are you able to tolerate that risk? Are you able to, because we got hundreds of cases at LGKG. I can tolerate that risk, but this is your only case.
Yeah, you one shot.
How do you want to do it? Some people say I could take the risk. Other people, they don't want to tolerate that risk.
Do they ask you what you think before they decide, or do you tell them what you think before you let them decide?
I give them the benefit of my experience. And I tell them the only thing certain about a jury trial is the uncertainty of the result. But based on my experience, here's what I think is going to happen. But I'm not Karnak the Magnificent. I don't have the answer before the question's asked. But I will give you the benefit of my experience. I've tried over 100 cases, Eddie. I've seen the movie before. I know how they end. Sometimes you can get fooled. The movie ending is not what you expected, but I got a pretty good feel for the way it's going down.
There is a movie, and they're talking about a jury, and a jury is described as the only unifying thing of a jury is it's 12 people that were too dumb to get out of jury duty. How close to reality can that come?
Well, that's not necessarily true. I won't say that.
Well lawyered.
I believe in the collective genius of the jurors.
Okay.
But oftentimes, it's people who are retired who have the time. If you're on the jury pool and you tell the judge, I'm an electrical engineer, we're right in the middle of a project that I am the key to, and it has to be done by Friday, they're not going to make you stay on the jury. They're not. But not any excuse gets you off. So, hey, listen, I like common people. I like regular Joes on a jury. That's who I like.
Would you rather have a blue-collar jury or a white-collar jury?
Depends on the type of case.
Okay.
In a medical malpractice case, sometimes I like white-collar jurors because the medicine is hard to understand.
Okay.
And I like people who deal with those intricacies a little more often. So it's normally a combination of both. Some of the best verdicts I've gotten in medical malpractice cases have been cases where there's been engineers on the jury. They get it. They could sometimes, the medicine is sometimes hard to follow. But I've come to the conclusion after trying many med-mal. I don't know that there's any lawyer in Beaver County that's tried more med-mal cases than me to verdict, Larry Kelly. The more I have to talk about the medicine,
right,
the less my chance is to be successful for my client. Now, that sounds insane. But if I had to make an argument in the last case that we talked about as to whether or not that EKG was normal or abnormal, the jury's not going to be able to read that EKG.
Nope.
I'm going to have an expert saying it's clearly abnormal. They're going to have a guy saying, there's nothing wrong with it. I would have said 16 times My guy walked in with chest pain, shortness of breath, nausea and vomiting, and they sent him back to the waiting room for an hour, and he died right in front of him. That's the case.
And there's no difficult medical understanding needed
That's
to
simple,
grasp
isn't it,
that.
Eddie? What do you think happened to that guy?
Well,
What do you think happened? Based on those facts alone.
I suspect that.
He had a heart attack.
Yeah, he
you
had
think
a
so?
heart attack. Yeah.
And maybe it shouldn't happen in the emergency room of the waiting room while you're reading Sports Illustrated.
Yeah.
You think maybe it shouldn't happen that way?
I think when you were a kid, you thought grown-ups were smart and you were just a dumb kid. At what age did you hit where you're like, wow, some of these grown-ups are pinheads? You would never use that term, but you're smiling.
No, it worked the other way with me.
Did it?
I got to be honest. At probably 15, 16, I couldn't believe how out of touch with reality my mother and father were. But by the time I got to about 21, 22, I said, man, isn't it amazing how much these two learned in 5 years?
Wow, they were dumb, and now they're smart.
Now they're
and,
brilliant. Now they're brilliant. It's kind of worked the other way. All right, let me give you my Steelers prediction.
Break it down. Steelers, Ravens. Steelers started at 7.5 point underdogs.
Please.
They're 10 point.
They're 10
You
point
gotta
dogs,
say this crap
and they
now.
deserve to be. Listen, I'm a big Steeler fan.
They did
I
too.
live and die in these watching these games. You would think that I have my paycheck bet on the game, and I don't. I don't bet football. But Eddie, let's be honest. Their offensive line leaves a little to be desired, and it starts and ends there. Their wide receivers are marginal, and the best wide receiver they have, you just can't count on him because you got no clue whether or not this guy's going to show up or he's not going to show up.
He a little goofy.
Our defense has been getting gouged. The last 5 games, or 4 in a row, we lost. In 3 of them, the defense got gouged. The last time we played Baltimore, Henry ran for 165 yards. What do you want me to tell you? I'm picking the Steelers. I'm rooting like heck. But I'll say one thing.
All right.
I'm sure that when everything was sorted out, Baltimore wasn't real happy that they had to play the Steelers in this first game. I'm just there. When there's
don't think?
I don't think they were real happy about that. I just don't.
Well, okay.
But what's your thought? Who you picking?
Oh, I'm not required to pay attention to any of that anymore, Larry.
I know you're not, but who you picking?
It's tough to pick the Steelers.
You think?
Although with 10 points, I'd consider it. They did the pit. The first half of the season, they were a house on fire. The last half of the season, they were a burning dumpster.
Well, they played three or four of the best teams in football.
Right, but you know this. When things start going downhill, further they go downhill, the harder it is to put your foot on the brake. And they've been going downhill, 4 or 5 games?
Yeah,
right?
let me say this much,
All
too.
right.
I'm not blaming the coach. Everybody wants to fire Mike Tomlin. Eddie, I've coached different sports for 25 years. It's about the players, cuz. You understand? You call the best plays in the world, but if the guys up front don't block, the running back doesn't hit the hole, the quarterback holds the ball too long, it's just not going to work.
LGKG.com is where you can get a hold of Larry Kelly for lawyer stuff or to argue Steelers. I hope we're both wrong because
I want to be wrong, Eddie. I'm rooting. I'll be rooting Saturday night. I'll have a few beers. Now, the last game, I got to be honest.
What kind of beer does a lawyer drink?
Oh, man,
to
I'm an
watch
IC Light
sports?
guy. Come on, brother. I'm a
Yinzer,
Pittsburgh guy. I'm a
okay.
Yinzer.
IC Light?
IC Light. That's what I drink. Come on. My wife gets mad, but I love it.
Why would she get mad? What does she care what you drink?
She wants to buy like that high class beer, Corona and stuff
What?
like that.
Wait, what? Do you know what a Chicago Corona is?
No.
It's a bottle of old style with a lime shoved down in it.
Yeah. That's what it is. So, anyway, the last game, I got to be honest, after the first, against Cincinnati, after the first drive of the second half where we went 3 and out, I told my wife, I'm out. I'm going upstairs. I'm watching a movie. I can't watch this. So I'll be tuned in. I don't know that I'll last the whole game. I couldn't watch it.
Were you yelling down the stairs for updates?
Well, I started swearing. Jeez, oh man. I went upstairs watching a movie.
That wasn't a football. That was that demon rum of IC Light. Larry, thank you, sir.
All right, brother. Always a pleasure, Eddie.
You're the best, man.
All right.
It's here. It's the McDonald's value menu, and it includes breakfast. Buy one sausage biscuit, sausage McMuffin, burrito, or hash brown, and get the second one for only $1. And you're able to mix and match. Only at your local area McDonald's. I'm loving it.
Falling in love is one thing. Having anxiety about falling is a whole different subject. If you or a family member are concerned about falling, and yes, either up or down the stairs, or maybe even out of bed, St. Barnabas has a special message and some ideas just for you. Years of experience in working with people who are prone to falls has given St. Barnabas special expertise in this area. Call them at 724-443-0700 and learn about ways that you can begin to feel more confident and safe, including suggestions that you can implement right now into your daily routine. Call St. Barnabas at 724-443-0700. For many years now, St. Barnabas has been helping